If she actually wanted to be with you, you wouldn't be losing sleep trying to figure out what her silence means or decoding every single word she sends. But here you are, stuck in a loop of waiting and wondering, while she keeps you in that frustrating almost zone, almost interested, almost yours, but never actually committed. That emotional limbo is exactly where she wants you, because when a woman isn't serious, she won't just come out and say it. Instead, she'll keep you close enough to use your attention, but far enough away that she doesn't have to take any responsibility for your feelings. Welcome back to Secrets Inside the Mind, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you can finally see through the games people play. If you're finding this helpful already, smash that like button for me real quick. Most guys don't even realize they're being played until they're completely drained, but you don't have to fall any deeper into this trap. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 signs she's playing you for a fool, so you can stop being a backup plan and start taking back your power. You don't end up in this mess because she's some once-in-a-lifetime woman. You fall into it because the way she treats you hits a nerve you've been ignoring for a long time. Most men don't realize how easily they can be pulled into a woman's psychological game until they're already drowning in it. It usually starts with a very simple human weakness: the deep hunger to feel chosen. That specific hunger acts like a filter, making you ignore all the red flags and inconsistencies. It makes you brush off the hesitation in her voice, or the vague, non-committal answers she gives when you ask her about the future. She keeps you just close enough to taste her affection, but she never lets you get close enough to actually claim it. You tell yourself that you're just being a patient guy, that you're being understanding, and that you're giving her the space she needs. But the reality is much colder than that. She's feeding you emotional crumbs, just enough warmth to keep you waiting at her door, hoping the next time you see her will be different. And that, my friend, is the trap. But here is the crazy part. Women often understand these emotional patterns way better than men do. See, as a man, you probably think in straight lines. You value consistency, effort, and actual progress. But she might be moving in cycles, giving you a ton of attention, then suddenly withdrawing, and then re-engaging just when you're about to walk away. When these two styles collide, you end up trying to explain her behavior using logic, while she's actually using a strategy. She might give you a late-night compliment, a soft touch on the arm, or a playful message that makes your heart race. Your brain takes that hit of dopamine and starts building a whole future around it. Then, she disappears for 3 days. Instead of questioning what she's doing, you start questioning your own worth. You weren't blinded by how beautiful she is. You were blinded by your own hope. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Hope is the most dangerous blindfold a man can wear. It forces you to rewrite her bad excuses as compassion. It makes you look at her inconsistency and call it complexity. You end up protecting her behavior instead of protecting your own heart. You start convincing yourself that she's just misunderstood, or maybe she's overworked, or she's just too emotionally wounded from her past to open up. You'll believe anything that keeps you from facing the hard truth. She simply isn't choosing you. Before you know it, you are trapped in a cycle you can't even name. You sit there waiting for her notifications. You spend hours analyzing the tone of a 3-word text. You defend her when she isn't there and explain away her mixed signals, because the alternative feels way worse admitting that you're being played. But once you understand the psychology behind this dynamic, the next 5 signs I'm about to show you become impossible to ignore. Each one of them reveals exactly how she pulls you deeper into a game she never had any intention of finishing. Sign number 1. Emotional distance wrapped in flirtation. It always begins the same way, with a warmth that feels very intentional. She'll compliment you out of nowhere, or she'll let her hand linger on your arm just a second too long. She sends those late-night messages that make you feel like she's letting you into a private, secret part of her life. She gives you just enough sweetness to make you think there's a real possibility there. She shows you just enough softness to make you believe she's finally opening up her heart. But the very second you try to actually deepen that connection or make things official, everything shifts. She's a master at dodging anything real with total precision. And wait until you see how she handles your questions. If you ask her a deep, personal question, she'll change the subject before you even notice. If you tell her how much you care, she suddenly goes quiet. And if you try to figure out what you two actually are, she's suddenly confused, not ready, or just wants to see where things go. But here's the crazy part. That warmth she shows you is always surface level. It's never deep, and it never requires her to risk her own heart. This isn't just a mistake. It's a way for her to keep all the power. She uses her charm like money, and your feelings are the profit she's collecting. You think there's a spark, but she's just putting on a show. When a woman actually likes you, the deep stuff happens naturally. If she's only flirting, she's just setting a trap. If you're enjoying this so far, smash that like button and let me know. Now, here's why most guys get stuck in this loop. You probably assume that if she's acting interested, she must want a real relationship. But the truth is, she might just want your attention without having to be responsible for your heart. Your desire makes her feel good about herself. Your constant availability makes her feel important. She gets all the benefits of having someone close without ever having to take down her guard. She's safe behind a wall, and she has no plans to let it down. Pay attention to how she acts. She'll laugh off your serious questions or say she loves whatever this is while refusing to give it a name. She wants the closeness, but she won't be emotionally present for you. It's all a tease, never the real thing. It's designed to keep you craving the moment she finally opens up. But here is where it gets really interesting. To see the truth, you have to stop giving her all that emotional energy. Pull back a little. Don't be mean about it. And don't do it as a punishment. Simply turn off the faucet she's been drinking from. If she actually cares, she'll meet you halfway without hesitation. She'll start asking about you and stop hiding behind vague answers. But if she just disappears or gets cold once you stop chasing, then you know it was never about love. It was all about control. Hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss our next video. Number 2. She keeps other guys in the conversation just to keep you off balance. It starts out small and sounds harmless. She might mention an ex who still texts sometimes, or a guy at work who won't stop flirting. She drops these details like she's just telling stories from her day. But if you listen closely, you'll hear why she's really doing it. She's not just talking, she's positioning herself. A woman who really likes you won't want you thinking about other men. She'll protect the connection and make sure you feel like you're the only one she's focused on. Now, this is where it gets interesting. When she keeps other men in the spotlight, she's using them as psychological leverage. Every name she drops is meant to spark one reaction: insecurity. She wants you to compete for her without even realizing it. She wants you to wonder if you're enough or if you're losing ground. That emotional tension is exactly what she wants. Which one of these surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. This behavior boosts her value in your eyes while making you feel totally uncertain about the relationship. Once that balance is tipped, she's the one in the driver's seat. The reason this works so well is that it's almost impossible to call her out on it. She isn't insulting you directly or openly comparing you to other guys. Instead, she's just being honest or sharing her thoughts. But behind the scenes, she's actually testing your limits. She wants to see how much you'll put up with. Will you start trying harder? Will you chase her more to stand out from the fake competition she keeps bringing up? Most guys fall right into this trap. They dive deeper into the game because they're desperate to win her attention back. If you're finding this helpful so far, do me a favor and smash that like button. But here is the real truth. When a woman actually likes you, she removes that feeling of competition from the equation. She doesn't want you to feel anxious about where you stand. She won't try to make you jealous just to see how you'll react. She doesn't use other men as tools in some emotional game. A woman who truly wants you is going to protect your confidence, not try to sabotage it. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The best way to test this is simple. Stop reacting. Don't ask a million questions. Don't flinch. Don't give her that emotional hug she's fishing for. If she realizes her tactics aren't working on you anymore, she'll usually do one of two things. She'll either turn up the heat to get a reaction, or she'll quietly distance herself when the game isn't fun for her anymore. Either way, you get the clarity you need. That clarity shows you what she was really hiding. She wasn't trying to build a connection with you. She was trying to control the dynamic. Once you stop feeding the insecurity she's been growing, the mask finally falls off. You'll see that her transparency was never about being honest. It was just manipulation disguised as a casual chat. Make sure to hit subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss our next deep dive. Number 3. Your effort keeps going up, while her appreciation keeps shrinking. This is the stage where most men lose themselves without even knowing it's happening. You probably started out strong, planning great dates and showing up when she needed support. You were being consistent because that's how a man shows he's interested. At first, she might have played along just enough to make you feel like things were moving forward. But then, things start to change in a quiet way. No matter what you do, it's never enough. You become more intentional, but she becomes more distant. You get more thoughtful, but she gets more critical. You start investing your heart, while she starts investing in excuses. But here's the crazy part. A woman who actually values you won't make you feel like you're running on a treadmill moving fast but getting nowhere. She needs you to feel slightly unsure of yourself and completely off balance, because that's the only way she can keep the upper hand. She wants all that boyfriend energy from you without ever taking on any of the actual responsibility. Your reliability simply becomes her convenience. If you look closely at her small behaviors, the truth comes out. She only praises you when she feels like you're finally starting to slip away. But the moment you show real excitement, that's when she brings out the criticism. She pulls you in close when she's lonely, then shoves you away the moment things get real. Her kindness is handed out in tiny pieces, while her disappointment seems to have no limit. A woman who truly wants you doesn't act like this. If she actually liked you, your presence would be enough. No amount of extra effort is ever going to fix it if she doesn't. But here is the part that will really open your eyes. The real test isn't about doing more. It's about doing less. You need to pull back not to punish her, but to stop burning yourself out for someone who doesn't care. When the chase ends, the truth finally surfaces. A woman who values you will meet you halfway, but a woman who is just using you will complain, try to manipulate you, or just disappear. Either way, you finally get the answer you've been looking for. Number 4. Her inconsistency is not a sign of confusion. It's a very calculated way for her to control the rhythm of your emotions. Men often mistake this for mixed signals or some deep emotional complexity. But trust me, there is nothing complex about what she's doing. She warms up just enough to pull you back in, then cools down just enough to keep you guessing. It's like she's tightening and loosening a leash. There's never quite enough pressure to make you walk away, but there's always enough to remind you who is really in charge. If this is helping you see things more clearly, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Now, you won't believe how deep this psychological game actually goes. Think about how she behaves. She might text you non-stop for 2 days and then just vanish for 3. She tells you how much she misses you, then finds every excuse to avoid making actual plans. She flirts like crazy at night, then acts like a complete stranger the next morning. Every time you think you've figured her out, she shifts again. That change isn't an accident. It's designed to keep you in a state where you can never predict her next move, which makes you focus on her even more. This cycle works because your mind becomes addicted to the uncertainty. The human brain is wired to chase these kinds of unpredictable rewards. The highs feel so much more intense when they come after a period of silence. She learned this trick a long time ago. Every sweet message or soft look is followed by a wall of silence. This contrast creates an emotional spike inside of you that you confuse with chemistry. But it isn't chemistry, it's just conditioning. And here's the part most guys never see. She only becomes consistent when she senses you're pulling away. That is when she suddenly remembers to be sweet or starts a conversation first. But as soon as you lean back in, she goes cold again. It isn't because she's moody or busy. It's a deliberate strategy because being inconsistent is what keeps her in control. You make the mistake of looking for a reason. You ask if she's tired or if you said something wrong. But the second you start trying to diagnose her behavior, you've fallen right into her trap. She wants you analyzing her feelings, so you never stop to analyze the pattern. If you only look at the moment, she controls the story. If you look at the pattern, the truth is obvious. Real interest is steady. Fake interest is chaotic. Women know exactly what they are doing when they send mixed signals. No woman accidentally keeps someone hooked for weeks or months. When she cares, she shows it. When she doesn't, she lets the inconsistency do the dirty work. Clarity is the only real test. So, you need to stop falling for those random sparks of interest and start looking at the actual movie playing out in front of you. Does she really match the energy you're putting in? Do her actions ever actually line up with the things she says to you? Does she show up for you consistently, or only when she feels you starting to pull away? When you stop chasing those temporary emotional highs and start looking at the bigger pattern, the whole illusion starts to fall apart. What felt like amazing chemistry is usually just control disguised as confusion. If you're finding this helpful so far, smash that like button so I know to keep making more. Number 5 on the list is a major red flag. She is never available for you, but she is always available for what she can get from you. This is one of the clearest signs that a woman is taking you for granted, yet it is the one thing men make excuses for the most. She will give you a million reasons why she can't make plans. She tells you she's overwhelmed with her job, she's totally drained from life, she's too busy, or she's just way too stressed. It's an endless cycle of excuses. But here is the crazy part. That same woman who is too busy for you somehow has all the time in the world to post selfies, update her social media stories every hour, go out with her friends, and binge watch entire shows. She isn't actually busy. She is just being selective. When a woman actually wants you, she makes room in her life. When she doesn't, she just gives you whatever scraps are left over. In this case, those scraps are basically nothing. Now this is where it gets interesting. She doesn't disappear entirely because she still wants to have access to your attention and the comfort you provide. Instead of just cutting you off, she keeps you on a very thin thread of connection. It's just enough of a link to keep you waiting around, but never enough to make you feel like you are actually valued. That is exactly why she only pops up when she needs something. When she wants emotional support, she calls you. When she needs a quick favor, she sends a text. When she's feeling lonely, she shows you a little bit of affection. If her ego takes a hit, she'll send you a random "I miss you" message out of nowhere just to see if you're still there. If you want to keep leveling up your dating life, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss our next video. But the very second you try to ask for her time, her presence, or any real effort, she hides behind that same wall of excuses again. She knows you will accept these crumbs because she's trained you to think that these tiny moments of warmth mean she secretly cares about you. They don't. They just mean she wants to take whatever she can from your emotional bank account without ever making a single deposit back. You have to start looking at these small patterns. She leaves you on read for hours, but replies instantly to things that benefit her. She cancels on you at the last minute, but never cancels on the plans that she's actually excited about. She leans on you when she's struggling, but expects you to be exactly where she left you whenever she decides to come back. And here is the most frustrating part. You've probably started to think this is normal. You've convinced yourself that having her around once in a while is better than losing her for good. That specific mindset is exactly what keeps you trapped in this loop. A woman who truly respects you won't treat you like a convenience store that's only open when she's hungry. Her availability is a direct reflection of her interest in you. Her presence shows you her true intentions. Her effort shows you how much she respects you. But wait until you see what happens when you actually flip the script. The test is simple. Go silent. Stop offering up your time for free. Stop doing all the emotional heavy lifting. Stop being available the very second she reaches out. When you take away the comfort she's been stealing from you, her reaction will tell you everything you need to know. If she just fades away, then you were never really her choice. If she suddenly starts reaching out more, she isn't feeling a surge of love, she is just reacting to a loss of control. The moment you stop giving her everything, you'll finally see who she really was. Walking away from a woman who's been playing games isn't hard because she's special. It's hard because she activated parts of you that haven't felt seen in years. You're addicted to her attention, and the fantasy version of her you built in your head. Those are the real chains holding you back. Which of these signs have you noticed lately? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. Most men stay in these situations way longer than they should, but it's not because they're fighting for her. They're actually fighting their own attachment to the potential they saw in her. You stay because you've already put in so much heart. You keep telling yourself that if you just stay patient, she'll finally meet you halfway. But honestly, that's just the sunk cost fallacy wearing a mask of loyalty. You aren't staying because she's worth the trouble. You're staying because it hurts to admit you totally misread her. If you're enjoying this so far, smash that like button for me. The only way out is to completely flip your mindset. You aren't just walking away from a girl. You're walking away from the version of yourself that was okay with the bare minimum. You're leaving your own weakness behind, not a woman who was never truly there. You have to start with emotional detachment. Stop trying to figure out what her latest post means or replaying those mixed signals. Stop trying to crack a code that was designed to keep you confused. Treat her being distant as a clear answer. When you detach, you stop biting the hooks she throws out just to keep you orbiting her. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. You need to set a real boundary using silence. This isn't about playing games. It's about getting clarity. The second you stop giving her unlimited access to your time, the whole dynamic flips. She loses the control she had, and you start getting back the energy she's been taking from you. Stop giving her the praise she hasn't earned. Every nice message was just feeding her ego, it wasn't building a relationship. If you want more, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Cut off her supply. Take all that energy and pour it back into your own life, your health, your work, and your masculine foundation. When you finally look inward, the brain fog starts to disappear. But here's the crazy part. The moment you stop chasing, you stop losing your self-respect. The moment you stop overgiving, you stop being used. The moment you stop trying to win her over, you realize she was never the prize. You were. You aren't losing a woman. You're losing a fake image, and that is exactly when you take your power back. You've seen the pattern by now. The flirting that goes nowhere, the way she mentions other guys just to keep you competing, and the way she soaks up your effort without saying thank you. You've dealt with the hot and cold behavior that keeps you chasing clarity she never plans to give. You've seen how she's only available when it suits her, which shows you exactly where you sit in her priorities. None of this is an accident. It's a blueprint used by someone who treats connection like a game and your attention like a resource. But you won't believe what happens next. A woman who actually wants something real will never leave you guessing. She won't use her affection as a weapon or try to break your confidence just to feel more valuable. She won't keep you around for comfort while giving you nothing in return. Men only put up with this when they're blinded by hope or the fear of losing a version of her they created. But every time you accept her being inconsistent, you're teaching her she can have your loyalty for free. You deserve better than emotional scraps. Which of these patterns surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. The second you spot even one of these red flags, you need to stop bargaining with someone who refuses to choose you. Don't wait for all 5 signs to appear. That's how guys end up losing years to someone who never actually had the heart to love them. But here's the part that really hits home. You need to look at your life right now and ask the one question most men are too scared to face. Are you actually being loved, or are you just being used? Are you building a real life together, or are you just a temporary fix for her until she gets what she wants? Finding that answer is where your real freedom starts. If this message finally opened your eyes, hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never fall into this kind of trap again. Smash the like button if this touched on something you've been hiding from. Send this to a friend who needs to hear the truth you finally understand. Tell us your story in the comments, because your words might save another man today. This is about your worth. Remember, you aren't waiting to be picked. You are the one who does the picking. When you start acting like it, the game is finally over.